To the left is the Lasu T300, and to the right is the LXY RC T770. You can tell the Lasu is a little bit smaller, but then again, the T77 is a bigger machine. I think this one weighs about 1-to-1, 10,500 pounds, and this one weighs about 9,700 pounds. So the machine is definitely bigger on this one for the 1-to-1. One thing I really like about this LXY, and not to bash anything or the other company, but I have to point it out, there's no slop in this. There's no boom movements at all. Compared to Lasu's, there's quite a bit of play in it. Now, of course, I didn't build this one. I bought it built. Props to the guy who actually built it. This is very difficult, and props to anybody who's actually built one of these. Very difficult to build. There's a lot of tiny little screws, and it's really time consuming, and it's really small. So the guy who I bought it from kind of gave up on it, and I don't blame him, because try putting all these. You got a receiver, sound card, light switch, speaker, 2 speed controls. Try putting all that in here, and that's a huge, that's difficult to do. Very, very difficult. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to do that either. But anyways, going back to the good part about Lasu. The good part about Lasu is this part right here is actually spring. So this one has a spring in here, the tensioner in the front. LXY's does not have a spring. Yeah, it does not have a spring. So that's a huge advantage to Lasu's. The tracks, I really like the way the LXY looks. It looks a lot more to scale. This one looks kind of, not sure, like the bottom of my new Nike shoes that I got. Kind of looks like that. Anyway, so that's that. One thing would be nice is if Lasu can come up with a bucket. I'm trying to take this out, pull it out of the way. This is the LXY's bucket. Simple, beautiful looking. If they can just put one and build one for this, I think it'll look so much nicer, the Lasu, with this bucket. This bucket that they have, I mean, look at the teeth on that. It's kind of weird looking. Maybe if you take these teeth out, maybe it'll look nicer. But that's it for that. So going on to the back, I know the guy, built it a little bit incorrectly by, not routing this through the internal, you can't put the door on because this, and this is outside. But I think he just wanted to test the hydraulics to make sure everything was working, and it does work. So I think that's why he just routed it like this. He didn't really care. So obviously you can't put the door in here. But yeah, it's got lights and everything. That's nice. But this is where apparently this is where you put the battery in here. It's a small, tiny little battery, 450 milliamp battery that you put in here. Really small. I mean, you can barely put anything in here. That's, of course, you got to make sure you have room for all this to go in there, right? All this stuff has to go all in there, which I have no idea how that's even possible. Whereas the LXY, here's a 4,000 milliamp battery, and they make these hard packs up to like almost 5,000 milliamps. And look how easy this one is. You just tilt it up, put the battery in there, plug it, done. That's easy. This one, I have no idea how they're gonna be able to do that. Now, going into it, I'm gonna pull this cabin out because it's not screwed on yet. These need to be glued on, of course. These are the handles for the steering. So let me take this out real quick. Okay. This is what I really like on Lassus. Let me pull the speed control out of the way. Look at that gearbox. Look at that motor. These are tiny little brushed motors. With, you know, you can change the brushes on it right there once they wear out. I mean, those are good quality motors right there. The transmission, the gearbox, I mean, that's big. So this is definitely going to be a lot more, I can tell, stronger in the powertrain and motor-wise compared to the LXY RC. So huge advantage to Lassus on that. You got 3 servos just like this one. Again, once you put this cover on, this is all you can put in here. You can't put anything additional on this. This is pretty much tight as it is. Now, of course, the speaker goes into that little hole right there, which is nice. But other than that, you know, fine. The speaker goes into that hole that I just showed you. But the rest, I mean, I have no clue because I know the battery goes right in here. That opening right there is for the battery. The instruction manual does not say, it's just a diagram of the electronics. It doesn't tell you where anything goes in the actual machine. You know, just like that. So I can see why he said, all right, I'm raising the flag, I'm done. I don't want to do it, and I don't blame him. That's tough. The electronics is really tough. So props to anybody who's actually built one of these. The hydraulic tank is right here. I really like the breather valve. You see that right there? That's smart. See, that's a positive thing. You need that breather valve. I don't know why companies don't make that. You know, I know it spills, but you need it. For example, this is the hydraulic tank for LXYs, and look, they just have a little cap screw right there. You know, I have to unscrew that when I run it so I don't pressurize and, you know, blow up lines and stuff like that. So you got to crack that open and let that breathe. You know, if they had a little breather valve like Lassus, that would have been really nice in here. And of course, this one also has lights and stuff like that. I really like the way the design, the details on the LXY is absolutely amazing. One thing I want to point out, let's put this back to back. You can see the pivot point on this is much higher than Lassus. You can see that. That means this one's going to reach higher for dumping. For dumping, it's going to reach much higher. I did not like this portion of it. I'm not sure why they made this so thick. I have to look at the 101 to see if it's like this. But that was kind of odd to me. You know, it's usually a really thin piece like this. So that's kind of odd. The cylinder, look at this one. Look at the size of this cylinder. You can see my pen. And then look at the size of this cylinder. This one's a lot smaller than this. So lifting wise, you know, this one's a bigger cylinder is always the key for these machines. This is too small, I think. But we haven't tried it, so. One thing I was kind of disappointed on was, great, you got a nice quick release mechanism, but there's no quick release on the hoses. That's kind of silly to me. Not sure why they cut, you know, why they did this. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Maybe the guy didn't install it, but I have to look at the manual. No, the manual shows up as a fixed. It's not a quick release. Whereas LXY, it's a quick release. So you can take out the quick attachment. So I am not sure why Lasue did not have, not sure why they did this. Other than that, I mean, the details, they're both pretty good. But I think LXY is better details for sure. Well, one thing I did notice is the weight. The weight on this is, it's got pretty good, I don't know how much it weighs, but it's got pretty good weight compared to LXY's. LXY's is, I mean, it's pretty heavy, but not as heavy as this. This one feels a lot more solid. And I don't even have all the electronics in there yet. So this is gonna have to fit in here, just like that, right? You know, maybe we can say, forget the seat. Not sure, but this has to go like that. And then you're gonna have to put the battery in there. I have no idea where the battery is gonna go. The guy gave up and he sold it. But props to him for getting him up this much. That's incredible. All right, peace.